Kindle, I just want my body to actually look like I work out. I want to look as if I am fit and strong. I recently got this question, and so that's what we're going to talk about on today's episode of the Fit Women's Weekly podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the show. My name is Kindal. I have been a trainer for almost 20 years, and I try my darnest to always be the real trainer, to represent what it looks like to be real, not to look like a Instagram model. I'm not trying to look as if I'm going to be walking out on a fitness stage anytime soon. I just try to represent what it's honestly like to live a fit and healthy lifestyle where you can work out regularly, eat healthy most of the time, but also enjoy the glass of wine, enjoy the cookies, and learn how to balance it out, because that's honestly what living a healthy life is all about. Enjoying food for what it is, which is fuel for your body, but it is also a way that brings us all together, and it is something to be enjoyed, to be celebrated, and not to be made as if there's yes foods and no foods. And then we break that down in this episode. I'm also going to share with you guys the realness when it comes to working out, what works, what doesn't work. I'm going to answer your questions, and that's exactly what we're doing today, because I was recently asked the question, Kindle, I work out so hard, but I want my body to reflect it. How do I make that happen? So let's break this down. But before we do me a favor, you guys. Make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. Most people that listen to the podcast, whether it's watching it on YouTube or listening to it on a podcast platform like Apple or Spotify, are not actually subscribed. You just kind of wait for it to come up in your commonly listened to stuff. Don't do that, because you never know. The algorithm could change anytime, and all of a sudden you don't get the updates of when I upload new podcasts. So to make sure that you don't miss out, just make sure to actually hit that subscribe button. It makes a big difference, not only for you to be able to get the latest episodes, but it also does help me, because the more subscribers we get, the more those platforms go, oh, people are listening to this. Let's put it out so that other people can join in on that community. And you guys are a very amazing community that people should be a part of. So thank you for that. And I will go ahead and thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Let's just be real. That's the word for the day. I used to struggle with this concept as well, where I am just kind of a naturally thin-bodied person. I, especially in my 20s, found it really hard to put muscle mass on. So for a long time, being a personal trainer, I was always wondering, do I look the part of a trainer? Will people actually take me serious and realize how strong and fit I am, because I didn't feel like my body actually supported that? And then I kind of started to reevaluate things and wonder, what does that actually mean to look and feel fit? And I also started asking myself the questions that I'm going to ask you guys. And then it kind of all clicked. And now I look at myself and I go, wow, at 40, I absolutely feel like I am a vision of fitness and health. And I feel like I do carry myself in being strong. But one of the things that hurt me was defining, what does it actually mean to look strong and fit, right? And I think so often we turn to social media and we find ourselves comparing ourselves to other people on that platform. So I actually went over and did a little bit of research. I went through a couple of different studies to see if what I was feeling is what a majority of women are feeling. And I'm not surprised that that is exactly the case, and that we find, or the research found, that browsing on Instagram was associated with lower levels of body appreciation, fully mediated by upward social comparison with social media influencers, and not actually close peers. So, it used to be you compare yourself to the people around you, and we most often associate ourselves with people that are like us. So it was a lot easier, in your circle of 10 to 20 people to say, yeah, I look fit and healthy, because those are the people that you're comparing yourself to. But in today's society, where we now can surround ourselves with literally thousands of people every single day, that's a bigger pool that we're able to compare our bodies to. And us as women have a hard time not comparing ourselves to the influencers, right? Or the perfect bodies. It used to be we would compare ourselves to the models on magazine covers or the models in commercials, which we knew at the heart of it, those weren't things that we could really achieve naturally and in a healthy way. But now we see all these influencers that try to promote this lifestyle of like, look at my 8-pack, and this is from working out 3 days a week and eating a donut before every single workout. And then that makes us feel blah about ourselves, where we're like, I don't look like that, and I work out 5 days a week and I don't eat donuts. So the first thing is, who are you comparing yourself to? Those people, one, are, remember, just, it's the social media world. They're promoting what they want you to see. Chances are they're doing a lot more. I would 99.999% sure there's a lot more going on than their 3 workouts a day or 3 workouts a week and their donuts at every single workout. So we don't know the full story about that. And then I forgot where I was going with that, y'all. But let's just say there's a lot more going on that we don't see. They're only showing us what they want us to see. And so we need to start reevaluating our own life and being realistic with it and start going back to what is really important to us, and that's defining what does it mean to be healthy and fit. Not what does it mean to be healthy and fit in the Instagram or influencer world. If you are truly healthy and fit, people are going to see that. They're going to see it when you are carrying all of your groceries up, or when you're able to move furniture by yourself, or you're living pain-free while your friends or those around you are like, oh my gosh, my back hurts, my knees hurt, and you're moving and going, I actually feel fine. So your body might not have the representation that you necessarily want it to have, but you are healthy and you are fit, and people are going to see that. But I get it. We want to have definition. We want people to look at us and go, man, look at her shoulders, look at her biceps, look at her triceps, look at her leg muscles when she walks. So the question then becomes, what can you do, or what are you not doing right now to help take your body to the next step, not in comparison to anybody else, but simply for yourself to be able to look in the mirror and say, yeah, I look like I do work out. Maybe when you go to brush your hair, you see that little bit of a bicep rise up a little bit, and you're like, yeah, look at that arm muscle. I can tell the hard work's been paying off. So how can you see those results start to show? It honestly comes down to 2 things. There's 2 ways to make your body reflect that you are working out hard. Number 1, it is add more muscle mass, right? Add more muscle mass, you're going to have more muscle definition. And then the second way is to lose a little bit of body fat. Change your body composition. When you lose body fat, that's going to help the muscle that you do have, supposing that you really are working out and strength training and you have that muscle definition under your body fat, be able to pop a little bit more and be more observant, more prominent in your day-to-day life. Right? So if you're like, but Kindal, I'm working out all the time and I'm still not really seeing it. Well, those are the 2 things that you need to go back to, right? And then you have to ask yourself the questions of, okay, I say that I'm doing all of the things, but I'm not seeing the results that I want to see. So you have to have that trainer, I always call it tough love. And when I'm talking to my clients, I always say, this is your trainer, tough love. So you have to ask yourself the hard questions. Are you really being consistent with your exercise regimen? That means, are you consistently working out really hard with your strength training, where you are going not necessarily to failure, but pretty close to failure, where you're starting to feel your form almost on the brink of giving out? I don't want you to take your workouts to the point where your form is breaking down, because that's going to put yourself at risk of injury. But you want to kind of be knocking on the door, getting close to it, because that's where your body and your muscles are going to go, oh my gosh, this is really hard. I need to add on more muscle so I can handle this the next time that it's done to me, and I have to be ready for it. If you're not getting there, then you're simply not working out at the intensity that you need in order to develop better and more muscle. And I talk about this time over time again with progressive overload, which is very, very important, but also just, again, making sure that you're pushing your body and you're lifting weights heavy enough to actually induce change. Are you doing that? Are you doing it frequently? If you work out really hard for 3 weeks, but then you take off 3 weeks and then you do it again for 2 weeks and then you take off for a couple more weeks, doing that up and down is not going to help you see the results. Building muscle is a lot longer of a process than what we like to admit. It takes time. And that means that it takes a lot of persistence. I have been working out consistently now for 20 years. And the gains that I have made have taken a long time. Would I change it in any way to try to make that journey faster? No, because along the way, I'm also building confidence with my training. I'm learning new skills, and I'm also just getting more confident in the lifts that I'm doing. Even after 20 years, I can still every once in a while go, okay, I can change and tweak my deadlift form a little bit this way and that way. It is a process, it is a journey, and it is a fun one, but you have to be realistic with it and embrace it for what it is, that it is going to take time, and also be honest with yourself of, are you actually doing it consistently and with the intensity that it deserves to elicit change? Until you've been working out consistently for at least 6 to 12 months, then you're not quite at the part where you get to say, I'm lifting weights consistently and my body is not changing. The other question that I would ask is, are you relying too much on cardiovascular exercise? Now, you guys know I am a huge component of cardiovascular exercise. I am a runner. I actually went running this morning. I'm still a little sweaty from my run, but I don't run in order to look fit. I run because it is good for my cardiovascular health. It is good for my lungs. It is good for my heart. It is good for my mental health as well. It's something that I do just for myself. And so if you're like, hey, I want to change my body and I want to look really toned, and you start running to make that happen, that is not what running is for. So you're doing the wrong type of exercise. Even if you are pushing yourself, where every workout is a struggle, right? So when I say, are you pushing yourself? You're like, oh my God, yes, I am running so hard. I am breathing so hard. I have to work really hard to catch my breath at the end. My legs are tired at the end. You're still doing the wrong type of exercise for what it is that you want to achieve. So make sure that on top of your running, you are also increasing your strength training. Now, there used to be this idea that if you were running while at the same time as doing a strength training program, that the running would break down your muscle. And that is not true. Especially, new science has shown that running on top of strength training is not going to negate the results that you get from strength training. But what does happen if you run continuously over and over, you are adding so many miles to your training regimen, and that's overshadowing your strength training, and you're not fueling yourself properly, then yes, that run is going to need fuel. And so that fuel can come down from breaking down your muscle and breaking down your body, so that it does make it harder to add. But if you are doing a tough strength training protocol like we just talked about, and you're fueling yourself properly with carbohydrates and protein, and then you're doing your run, there should be no risk of losing the muscle that you're building from the strength training program. So put that aside, but do not rely on running in order to add those muscles that you want. It's not going to happen. And then the other part that we talked about is burning muscle, or burning body fat. And that comes down to being in a deficit. And so when you are in a deficit, you want to make sure that, first off, between the two, if you have to choose, okay, I want my body to be more toned, I could either burn body fat or build muscle. Which one is easier? They're both inherently harder, right? You can burn body fat faster than you can build muscle, but being in a deficit isn't fun. Cutting your calories is not fun, right? And it's also mentally a little bit more taxing, because we feel like, we're in this diet zone, and then you have the ups and the downs of, you do really well for a week and then you kind of self-sabotage yourself, so you feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and a step back all along the way. Whereas trying to build muscle mass on top of the body that you already have, it's harder in the sense that it takes more time, but I would much rather focus on building muscle with a good strength training program and making sure that I'm eating enough. You do have to make sure that you are eating at maintenance or even a little bit elevated in order to build the muscle mass. That's a lot more fun, right? So that journey, to me, is the one that I would opt for. But if you're like, no, it wouldn't hurt me to burn a little bit of body fat, then just realize you are going to be in a caloric deficit while at the same time really focusing on the strength training program that you are relying on, making sure to lift those heavy weights, making sure that you are taking in enough protein to protect the muscle mass that you have. With that being said, generally it's about 0.8 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight that you have. So if you weigh 150 pounds, your goal should be around 150 grams of protein per day. And that's because, okay, so why is it so important? Because one, protein is the building blocks of muscle. So if you're in a strength training program, you're literally having to build more muscle. You need the building blocks, amino acids, and that comes from a diet rich in protein. But on top of that, we want to make sure that when you are in your deficit that you're protecting the muscle that you do have. Because if you're in a deficit, your body can try to decrease the amount of calories that it needs per day because it doesn't want to be in a deficit. And it has two ways of doing that. It can either do it through breaking down your body fat or breaking down your muscle mass. Muscle mass requires more energy. So naturally, that's where your body would prefer to break down. It would prefer to break down unnecessary muscle. If you have muscle that you're not really using, it's like, hey, I don't really need this. If I break this down, I'm only getting 1,500 calories a day. If I break this muscle down, then I'm going to take my daily needs down to 1,500. Whereas if you're making sure that you're taking in enough protein and you're still focusing on having a good strength training program, it tells your body, no, I can't break down this muscle because I need it because of the workouts that you're doing. And you're making sure that you're still giving it the necessary fuel to be able to keep itself and possibly even build itself along the way. And the other big part about protein when you are in a deficit is that it is slower to break down than carbohydrates. So carbohydrates start to break down the second you put them in your mouth. You have something called amylase in your saliva, which is an enzyme that starts to break down carbs. So carbs get broken down very, very quickly, whereas proteins and fats break down a lot slower and help to keep you fuller longer. So 1,500 calories of bread is not the same as 1,500 calories of chicken. One's going to keep you a lot fuller and not make you feel as if you are in a deficit all the time. So that is something to keep in mind. So those are the two things that are really necessary that you have to look at when you start to wonder, when you're looking in the mirror, I am working out consistently, but I'm not seeing the results that I want. Do you need to build more muscle mass? And with that, do you need to change the type of program that you're doing right now? Do you need to start lifting a little bit heavier? Do you need to start working out more consistently? Be honest with yourself. Or are you at a place where you want to be in a caloric deficit and try to burn off a little bit of body fat while trying to maintain your muscle mass? Now, I will say this. When you are in a deficit, there really isn't a way that you're going to be able to, unless you're completely new to strength training, okay? If you are a complete training newbie, you're actually in a great spot because you can likely go into a caloric deficit while also increasing your strength training and see a really big change in your body composition as in terms of building muscle while burning body fat. If you are someone who has been working out consistently, when you are in a deficit, what's most likely going to happen is you're likely either going to maintain the muscle that you have or you're going to lose a little bit. And then when you come out of that deficit and increase your calories a little bit, then you'll easily be able to put on a little bit more body muscle to get back to where you were. So just kind of keep that in mind and weigh out where you are in your life right now to determine which option is best for you. But at the end of the day, you guys, it takes work. As much as I'd love to say, here's the magic pill, you just take the red pill and you'll all of a sudden look as if you have been working out for 20 years. The only way to look as if you have been working out consistently in the gym for 10 to 20 years is to actually get into the gym and work for 10 to 20 years. But also remind yourself to be honest with yourself. Ask, what does it really look like to be fit and healthy? And chances are you're probably already there. We are just in a place right now with our culture where we have such high standards and high definitions of what that looks like. And I have caught myself going through that so many times as well in the realm that I'm in. And as my job, I've looked at personal trainers and gone like, oh my gosh, these people look like professional athletes. They look like they're ready to step onto a fitness stage at any time. And that's held me back a lot from being my true self to myself and in my own confidence, and also being able to be real with those around me for the first 5 to 10 years that I was in this field because of the comparison gap. So be honest with yourself and remember that the actions that you take, the lifestyle that you lead will make people, if that's what's important to you, look at you and go, wow, that woman is fit and healthy. She should be proud of herself. It's not in the size of your shoulders or what you look like in a bikini. Those are definitions that we put on ourselves. So maybe take a step back and just kind of think about that for a second. So yeah, you are fit and healthy. You deserve it. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't fall into these studies where I was looking where like 75% of people compare themselves and are at higher risk of low self-esteem, more at risk for depression, simply because of social media outlets like Instagram. And that's really sad. And I feel like it's something that we need to talk about a little bit more often and should be addressed. But go work out again, do consistently, fuel your body in a healthy way, and you'll be good to rock and roll. And if you feel like the workout program that you're doing right now isn't working for you, then I have a solution. I'll make sure to link all of this stuff up in the show notes as well. But if you're tired of your workouts, you're bored of your workouts, you're not motivated to do them, you're not able to push yourself, you're kind of dragging your feet, you don't know what it's like to actually push yourself, I would love to help you with that. And I can do that through my online strength training program, Fit Women's Weekly Live. Every day I go live Monday through Friday with 2 workouts. I do one for 30 minutes and I do one for 60 minutes long, where I do it rep for rep. I push myself, I challenge myself, I give you guys tips. You don't have to do them live. You can if you want, but every workout is recorded and posted so that you can also do it when it fits your schedule. You can still ask questions. I will still answer you, but that way you have someone leading you through the workout as a workout partner. And that makes such a huge difference when it comes to really trying to push yourself. I think one of the biggest things, I know that a lot of people like to work out solo, and that's fine. But when you are working out with someone who's just a little bit better than you or equal than you, then you naturally push yourself a little bit harder, and that is a key component to getting the results that you want and for making it a lot more fun. Whenever I want to get better with I'll just say this, this isn't what I was going to say, but when it comes to my own workouts, I work out with a group of ladies in the morning, not part of Fit Women's Weekly. They're just my girlfriends that I've worked out with for years, because I also love working out beside somebody, and I love having someone if I want to stop, I see them continuing to go with the set, and that makes me push harder to get through the set and to challenge my body in the way that it deserves, that I might not be able to do necessarily when I am by myself. Or if I want to get faster with my running, I run with a training partner. And again, makes all the difference. So surround yourself and actually have a training partner. It can make a huge difference in taking you from where you are to the next level. And that's what I am for the ladies in Fit Women's Weekly Live. I am their built-in training partner, but I'm also their trainer. It's a 2-in-1 package. I answer questions, I give modifications, I give tips on your form. You can actually film yourself working out if you want to, and I'll give feedback. And if you don't believe me, head over to fitwomensweekly.com. Link is down in the show notes. You can try it out for free. What's there to risk, right? If you decide after 2 weeks of trying it for free that it's right for you, awesome. You can sign up as a member. If after 2 weeks you're like, nah, not for me, it's not going to hurt my feelings, but at least you gave it a shot. And I would love for you to do that. So go check it out. Link down in the show notes. And remember, you guys, to give this video a thumbs up if you're watching it on YouTube, and subscribe to whatever platform it is that you are listening to. And if you have the opportunity to leave a review, because I know some podcast players have spots for reviews, some don't. Please leave a review. Just say, you know what? Kindle is the best. Period. The end. Only nice reviews, please. And if you guys ever have a question or a topic similar to this one today, this was one that I received in my inbox, then slide into my DMs, Kindle Boyle Fitness, and we'll talk about it. Maybe even on Friday's episode, because I put out 2 episodes every single week. All right, guys, go have yourself a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.